Hi, this is Dan from Binaural Recording Sights and Sound. And let you guys know that I did come back from the Game On Expo and we did get some cool captures of the panels that were at the event. However, the binaural parts of it didn't actually turn out. So these recordings that you're going to see here are actually just going to be just the recordings, just with the production value and the things that I've added to it. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Take a watch.
Too much crap in my pockets. Hello? Are these on? Yeah. I don't feel like I can sit down comfortably because of all the crap in my pockets.
You're right.
Should have brought a backpack. Schiffer Publishing. Nice.
Hello.
Dude, my throat is...
Should have got a lemonade, man.
No, it would be a million times worse. You ever get those lemonade loogies? Yeah. No. No, that's a poor choice before a panel.
It's perfect.
Give everybody just a couple of more minutes. What time is it? 1:26. We got 4 minutes. Oh, I'm gonna put my phone on. Put my phone on silent so it doesn't make noises. So hey guys, enjoying the expo so far?
Awesome.
Is it great? Is this your first time? Anybody or you? Yours, you too? Are you guys local or from?
Yeah, we're local.
Local?
We usually go to the bigger conventions, but we went to Comic-Con in May and we had such a good time and we're like, let's look up what the next con is, and we looked at this one and we heard good things about it, so we're like, let's just go. And it's smaller, but it's fun.
It's a fun one. Yeah, it's fun. I like the free play arcade that they put on. The last expo I went to was the SoCal Retro Gaming Expo, and they didn't have a free play arcade, and I was kind of bummed out. So, I like to play pinball.
Well, we got the other things that said for the next game on is Marc.
Oh yeah, that's actually cool too that they're moving this out of the summer. I've been coming to this expo since its first year, which I forget how many years ago that was, but they used to do it at Mesa, at the Mesa Convention Center, and so I've been going to it since then. And I volunteered a couple of years too. I was one of we didn't have cool NPC shirts when I volunteered, but I did that for a couple of years as well. So it's really grown quite a bit. Actually getting a good amount of people too.
Yay.
Nice, yay.
Which one do you like better, the Mesa Convention or here for Game On?
Overall here, I live in Mesa, so it would be nice if it was closer, like that's nice, but when they would do it in Mesa, and it wasn't as big as it is now, but it was still pretty big. The problem with the Mesa Convention Center is it's a lot of separate buildings, so there was a lot of like walking between buildings. Like the free play arcade would be in one building, and then like the vendor hall would be in another. And so even though it was you're only outside for a couple of minutes, it's August, so that was kind of a bummer. But here it's nice that it's all like self-contained in one building. And I think we can go ahead and get started. Welcome everybody to the Retail Archaeology Panel. I think I asked earlier, well I did ask earlier, but is this your first time at the expo this year, or you too as well? Okay. You guys liking it so far? Awesome. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about some things that I'm working on, projects that I'm working on, and then after that we'll just do questions and answers and chit chat and hang out, and hopefully everybody has a good time. So as far as future things that I'm working on, I'm assuming you're all subscribed to the Retail Archaeology channel. Was it a year ago? I put out a long form documentary. It was Arizona's Dead Mall Gold. Originally was released on VHS of all things. And then I put it on YouTube, I think a couple months later. I am working on a volume 2 of that, covering some of the history of some of the other dead malls, and unfortunately some of them that are now gone, that have been torn down. But there's things like Power Square Mall, for example, so I'm gonna be doing another long form where it just kind of covers those as I've gotten footage throughout the years on those. And then I am going to be doing a California's Dead Mall Gold. So I'm gonna do the same thing for a lot of the malls that I filmed, excuse me, in Southern California. So I don't know if those are gonna have any sort of physical release like the first one did. If they do, it probably won't be VHS. Again, I will probably put it on something that's a little bit more accessible for people. You know, I don't know about Blu-ray, but DVD, you know, probably will happen. But I'll also put it on YouTube, so it'll be free on there as well. But when I do the physical versions of those, there's usually a little extra bit at the end after the credits, but I'll probably just put that in when I do it for YouTube this year. So yeah, those are two. Those will both be about an hour each, so a lot longer than what my normal videos are, so they're not going to come out anytime soon. But I do plan on having them both, the first one out towards the end of this year, and then I'm hoping to get the California one out like first quarter of next year. So those are two big projects that I'm working on. I enjoy doing those. It's a lot of work, but I get to go through all of the footage that I've filmed over the years, and I get to put them side by side and do really neat comparisons so you can actually see how things progressed and changed over the years. Also, as far as normal videos that I'm working on, there's one that Marc and I have been working on together for a while. I always make the joke, you know, occasionally on my channel I will do something food related, and those videos don't do as well as other videos, but I like doing them, and also this one I think I'm pretty excited about because even though it's food related, it's mall related also. So I'm going to be covering some more of the food court type stuff in malls. With the first one being an Auntie Anne's video, and we're actually going to make Auntie Anne's pretzels. So that'll be a fun one. But I do plan on doing some more coverage of some of the food and things that you can eat at the mall. Because I feel like that's just something that not a lot of people are covering, and that was always one of my favorite parts of going to the mall, was getting a subpar piece of pizza. Or I don't know, if for some reason, if you take that slice of Sparrow out of the mall, it's not going to taste nearly as good as it does inside the mall. So I'll be covering things like that, Sparrow, some of those, because as malls start to kind of become scarcer and scarcer, excuse me, those places to eat are going to become scarcer and scarcer as well, because most of those places don't exist outside of a mall food court. I don't think you can just, I think there's one in New York, but I don't think there's any Sparrow that's just like a standalone, or like a Wetzel's Pretzels, or there's Panda Express all over the place, but some of the other more obscure ones I'd like to cover. So there's that moving forward as well. And then lastly, this probably won't happen until closer to the end of this year, but I do plan on, and I've said this several times, bringing back the Mall Tycoon live streams. I don't know if it'll be Siesta Mall, but those, and I'm toying with the idea of putting those back on the main channel instead of putting them on the RE2 channel. That's where I had been doing them for a while, because the old YouTube wisdom is that you don't live stream on your main channel. Like you need to have them split up, because but I don't think the algorithm works that way anymore. So I probably will start streaming those again. I was toying with the idea of doing it on Twitch, but Twitch has become such a nightmare that I don't want to have anything to do with it. So other than that, that's things that are coming up for the future. Some more food related stuff, some more long form content. Also thrifting time. Those videos don't perform as well as some other videos, but I really enjoy doing those videos. Those are actually some of my favorite to do. Yeah, those are my favorite to do. Yeah, I love doing those. The reason there's been such a long gap, I think I just put one out, but I just have not been finding really interesting things as often as I was. So I'm kind of hoping as Halloween starts to get closer, people start buying Christmas presents. They do the Christmas shopping. They buy stuff for Halloween, and they start to start clearing out their houses and letting go of some older things. So I'm hoping that thrift stores will get a little more of a selection of interesting things to look at, because the last couple of times I've went, you go with me most of the time. We don't film nearly as much now when we're in a store. Like I used to be able to I could do a 20-minute video on like 2 stores when I first started doing them. Like I could find it up, but now I have to go to like 4 or 5 or 6 thrift stores now just to like find enough interesting stuff to fill a video. But I'm hoping that's gonna get better soon because the time of year is changing. So those are going to be hopefully more frequent, because like I said, those they do okay, but they don't do as good as my other videos. But I love doing those; they're so much fun. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's one of those. It took me half an hour to write. Like, but yeah, I want to just kind of open it up to do a little bit of Q&A. If anybody has any questions or anything they want to ask, any comments or anything, just sure.
For the California video, my childhood mall was Parkway Plaza in El Cajon, and
I like that one.
You did a video on it, and so I was wondering if you were planning on returning.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, because I do want to include that. Eventually there'll be a volume 2 of California's Dead Mall Gold. I don't know if you guys know what that's a reference to, but there was a guy that used to be on PBS way back in the day in California named Huell Hauser, and he was just a delightful human being, and he used to go to like weird places and do shows on weird things all throughout. It was called, the name of the show was California's Gold. So it was like just cool places in California. One time he would go, it would be an old racetrack that was being used for vintage car racing, and then he would go visit a guy whose entire house was the biggest like horror film collection of memorabilia you'd ever seen in your life. It was amazing. So that's what that's a reference to, because I just kind of always wanted to have a PBS show that just seems like fun. So I know that's really nerdy, but like that just seems like fun. I also wanted to be a radio DJ for a long time, but that didn't pan out either. But yes, I do want to go back there because I do want to feature that one in there, because I actually really like that mall, and I've heard from people that it's not doing as well as it was when I was there last, and that was probably 3 years ago, I think. So yeah, I do plan on going to check that out. I also want to start getting into some more of the malls in Northern California. Like I've just done Southern California so far, but I know that there's a ton of stuff that's starting to fail on the northern side of California, and so I would like to get to that stuff and get it filmed before it's not possible to film it anymore. So hopefully that answers your question in a lot of words. Anybody else? Sure.
What do you think about like how it seems like the way that they're replacing malls is just making a bunch of like smaller outlet, outdoor kind of shopping places? Like we got Tanger Outlets, you got Desert Ridge Marketplace. They're all outside and they're all smaller than a mall. I would assume maybe easier to manage than having a giant place that has to be AC the whole time. So what do you think about that and like the future of like maybe how malls are transforming to those?
I have mixed feelings. I hate those here because it's hot. But like, even not the outlet malls, but in California, a lot of the malls like Grossmont Center, they're outdoor malls, but the weather's gorgeous and they're gorgeous. They do an amazing job with gardening and flowers and things like that, and everything was very vibrant. But like, yeah, something like that here I hate. And then the ones specifically, the outlet type malls that are like out in the sticks, I don't think those have much of a future. I don't think that people really like when I was a kid, every back to school season, we would go hit the outlet malls that used to be near Casa Grande for like cheap Izods and stuff like that. I just don't think people shop that way anymore, and there's so much discount retail within like the city. You've got Ross, you've got Burlington, you've got, I think those places have kind of replaced the big outlet mall, and as far as I know, they are a lot of them drying up. I haven't been out to like the Phoenix premium ones lately, but I was at the Anthem one, when was that, 2 years ago? It wasn't looking good there. And then, like Casa Grande, I remember that one. was busy as hell when I was a kid. When we go out there, it's a rotting corpse out there now. And then there's the one that's I'm going to pronounce it wrong, it's either Morena or Morana, but like from what I've heard, that one's starting to dry up too. So I just don't think that those have much of a future. People just don't shop that way anymore, I don't think.
In your opinion, why do you think that, especially here in Arizona, why do you think that indoor malls are failing, but outdoor malls, like he was saying, like Desert Ridge or Turkey Marketplace, are thriving in a sense?
I don't know. I think with the indoor malls, part of the reason is it's cost. Like those are super expensive to operate, and also
it's with the mall. Like I feel like the mall did.
Yeah, they don't age well. Like it takes a lot of infrastructure to run like Superstition Springs Center, Metro Center Mall when it was open. And a lot of those malls are now, 20, 30 years old. And it becomes way too expensive to operate them. And so I think they start jacking the rent up on everybody, and it just kind of creates like a downward spiral basically. Whereas I think the outdoor ones, like Santan's another good one. I actually kind of liked Santan Village, but again, it's just so hot. It's just so hot. I think Tempe Marketplace, so specifically, I think it's food is what brings a lot of people into those two. Santan is the same way. When Santan Village first opened, it had a proper food court. Like there was a huge building that was like a proper food court, and that shut down. And I think it's because all of those there's like what is over there? There's the Grimaldi's Pizza. There's a bunch of different places, and those restaurants are pretty good. And so I think the food. There's a lot of nightlife stuff around like Desert Ridge and Tempe Marketplace. And isn't Desert Ridge the one where you can drink now? Like you can walk around the mall with a beer?
You can do that at Tempe Marketplace now.
Can you? Okay. I think that is a big help too. Like I said, I think just nightlife drawing people in. I think what malls did to themselves too that was a shot in the foot that they don't do with those places as much, it seems like, is pushing teenagers and being like teenager hostile basically. And that was a big element of the mall, was teenagers there spending $5, $10 here, $20 there, growing up in that mall, then taking their kids there. But there's that period where they got really hostile towards like any group of more than 2 people under 18 and things like that, and they just kind of rushed them out of there. And so I think you ended up having a whole generation that didn't really grow up like hanging out at the mall. I think that was shooting themselves in the foot.
Get rid of like all the little bit of shenanigans.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just part of it.
I was at Superstition Springs Center months ago, and I got on the elevator to go up to the second floor, and it was the funniest thing. There was like these 3 teenage girls that were sitting on the floor in the elevator eating lunch in the elevator. And I was like, that's so awesome, because like that's the dumb stuff that we would, and I just haven't seen stuff like that anymore. So it did give me a smile to actually see young kids doing dumb crap at the mall. Like that is starting to make a comeback a little bit, so that's good. Which one of these is mine? This one is. Because one was here already, and I don't know whose that was. And if I'm not careful, I'm gonna grab it. And
For sure. Like you still might. I'm taking bets now if you still grab it.
you lose. He knows, because I try to steal his drink habits.
Every single time.
I'm terrible at that.
I started doing like Mountain Dew, so you're always like Dr. Pepper. So when he grabs the Mountain, he's expecting Dr. Pepper, and he's like, ugh! And it's like, stop stealing my drink.
Yeah, a lot of times when we go out and film, especially during the summer, we will stop at like Circle K or whatever and grab a thirst buster. Well, a lot of times what we'll do is we'll go
We're gonna hunt down the one that
Spend
has
a-
like the beer cooler.
Yeah, we'll go spend a few
walk in,
minutes.
and then it's like,
hanging out in the beer cooler, the walk-in beer cooler for a second, then usually get like big drinks or whatever. And so yeah, he gets one that's a different color than mine because I'm terrible at grabbing the wrong drink.
it works.
Shut up. Anyways. Anybody else? Questions? Sure.
You find anything good in the expo?
Yeah, actually I did. I spent an unreasonable amount of money at the gashapon machines. I haven't opened any of them yet, but I have a bunch of the capsules that I need to open up. I did grab a couple for my kid too, but is that I found
Please
big
make a video with you opening them.
with my kid.
No, yeah.
I'll ask her. She's not real keen on like having pictures taken of her or video. But I'm going to open, it'll probably be on the RE2 channel, but I'm going to do a little video just about the expo, and I'll probably open them up. As a matter of fact, this is embarrassing. While I was getting ready for the expo this year, I found a couple that I had gotten last year that I hadn't opened yet. They were still in the backpack, I didn't end up bringing my backpack today, but I was getting it ready on Friday. I was like, oh my God, I still have like 3 or 4 of these that I haven't opened. But I found that. I found a big box PC game, which I was pretty happy to find because traditionally there's not been a lot of big box PC stuff at these retro conventions, it just doesn't seem to be like, at least up until recently, a super popular thing to collect, but I do just because I like the way they look on a bookshelf. But there's actually some out on the floor, and I found one that I was looking for. It was, what is that fight? One Must Fall. It's an old, I think Apogee made it fighting game, but I found that, and then I bought a $3 Game Boy game. I actually haven't gone crazy this year, but there's a lot of neat stuff to look at, for sure, out there. And I'm probably going to do one more sweep today just to see if I missed anything. Did anybody else find anything that they're excited about? Did you find anything?
I did not, but that's just because I kind of think that some of the game prices for if you want to collect a lot, then it's going to cost you. I like the box art of like SNES, NES. I care about the box art, but obviously everything here is going to be the game, everything else. I just want the box. That's all I want.
I've been collecting off and on. How old am I now? I don't know, like 15 years or so, a long time. Long enough that I remember when like all retro video games were cheap and there was no treasure. But I kind of learned over time to kind of like bob and weave with my collecting. So like right now, I think SNES is still pretty hot right now as far as collecting goes. I haven't really paid much attention to it, but I would tend to collect for things that other people weren't, so that the prices would tend to be lower. Like I collect, like actively anymore, big box PC, because up until recently those was pretty cheap. There's some stuff out there with some hefty price tags on it now, so I'm like, damn it, like that's about to get more expensive. But I collect Game Boy, Atari Lynx. Nobody collects Atari Lynx, so I haven't seen any this year. But usually at every convention, I will find someone will have a stash of like several factory sealed Atari Lynx games in the box, and they're like $6 because nobody wants them. So Atari 2600. So like I tend to try and collect the stuff that is cheap to collect for right now. That being said, I will buy SNES and NES if I see them at like a thrift store for a good price, but I'm not going to pay the convention floor price. It's like I'm not going to spend $300 on Earthbound.
Right. I saw that.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
the rarest, most expensive one I saw today was, I think there's one for $22,000.
Ooh, that's what I saw. Something out there for like 10 or 11 grand, I think, yesterday. But what was 20,000?
I think it's a Nintendo 64 game that is something Princess something.
I don't know N64 very well.
I forget which one it is, but it's like out in the middle.
Yeah, I'll have to go see. Yeah.
22,000 and Nintendo 64.
Yeah, no, that's insane. No. That being said, I don't have a complete box copy, but I've got a cart-only copy of Earthbound, and I found that at a thrift store many years ago for $1.
Wow.
So, like I do have like good stuff in my collection, but I probably more than likely didn't pay more than $10 for it because I either got it way back when it was worth nothing, or I still do occasionally find cool stuff at like garage. I don't go to garage sales anymore really, but like thrift stores and things like that, or a co-worker will be like, hey, my grandpa found this box of video games up in his attic, here you go, and it's like, oh, there's some like rare Atari stuff in here, like cool. But yeah, some of the prices out there are just, okay. Some stuff has come back down to earth, but not at the convention.
These days, I'm only finding portable like stickers.
Yeah.
Prints.
Honestly, if you're looking for like an affordable system with some really, really fun games to collect for, and I'm biased because I'm a huge fan of it though, is the original Game Boy. Because there's several different ways to play the games. I mean, you can obviously play it on like an OG Game Boy, but you can get backlit systems. Also, there's like clone systems you can get that take the Game Boy cartridges that actually, there's one I have one, I think it's called like GB color, but it looks pretty much like, it looks almost indistinguishable from a Game Boy Color, but the screen's backlit. And it takes the original games. The IR port actually works on it for the Pokemon games and stuff, and I think it was like $50 on Amazon. So, or you can get a Super Game Boy and play them on your or SNES, which is a great way to play them because there are a lot of the later Game Boy games that have Super Game Boy exclusive features, and we'll do special colors and things. So, and most of the games, especially if you go cart only, are cheap. There's like not a ton of really expensive games out there. There's some stuff that complete in box can get pricey, but yeah, it's actually a pretty cheap system. Like I said, I found a game for $3 that I've been looking for because I'm not trying to go for a complete set, but like I want all the games that have the Super Game Boy enhancements. So I found one that I was looking for out there. It's a golf game, but like whatever, it's a fun game still. You know, it's fun. The other one is the Atari 7800. The system can be hard to track down, but if you like old arcade games, there's some really good ports, and most of the games are, as far as I remember, are pretty cheap still. So 22 grand for an N64 game. I'm like turning that over in my head a couple more times, and I'm trying to think like, what game would that be?
Maybe it's Slave Fighter?
Like the Sculptor's Cut or whatever. Yeah. Like maybe if it's, were those Blockbuster exclusive?
Yeah, those
they were.
Blockbuster.
So those probably didn't come sealed. I mean, they probably came complete in box, but I doubt they were ever. I wonder if they were sealed. But yeah, still, man, 22 grand. That's just craziness. But you know, I'll see a copy of like Contra for the NES out there for $50, and it's like, is that really a $50 game now? That was a $25 game for a lot of years. So yeah, it's rough out there, but there's some deals and stuff to be had. And also another tip, especially after this panel, is a good time to go out there and try and haggle. Because a lot of the vendors don't want to bring stuff home. So you can get some good deals if you have cash and want to haggle. That's now, yeah, don't leave until after the panel's over, but once the panel's over, it's actually, this is the last day of the expo, like the last couple of hours when they're starting to like pack up their stuff and they're like, oh my God, I gotta take all this home. Like they'll start cutting deals. Anybody else? Question? I'll take you first in the back and then I'll get Mario.
How do you feel about the demolition of Fiesta Mall? I like grew up going there. I was born in 2001, and when I was 6 to 7 years old, like 2007, that was like the mall I always went to.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm pretty sad about it. Because that was, really? I put you on silent. Are you joking? Yeah, I'm really, because that was the first mall that I grew up going to. But we lived closer to where Superstition Springs Center is. So once that mall got built, that became like our mall. But like even in high school and stuff, like we used to go to Fiesta Mall. Like we would meet up there to go to like parties or whatever that would be in downtown Mesa. But yeah, I'm actually really sad. I was looking at pictures of the demolition today and I was like very sad about it because the picture that I saw, the building was pretty much down in the back, but it was still the entrance, like the Fiesta Mall, like the thing, that was still standing, but like the mall was just like rubble like behind it. I was like, oh, that sucks. Yeah, that one, you know, like I was kind of sad when Paradise Valley Mall got torn down. I was shocked how quick that happened after it closed. But yeah, Fiesta Mall sucks that it's being torn down. Yeah. I think demolition, did it start on Metro Center or it's supposed to start soon?
Yeah, I live over there. It's down.
It's down?
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
yeah,
down.
wow. You know, they're dropping like flies. Yeah, like I said, I'm really, really sad about it. I was gonna drive over there the other day and I ran out of time, but I'm kind of glad that I didn't because I don't think I needed to be any more depressed that day. So, and then Mario, good question.
Since we're at a gaming convention, what are some of your
Favorite
favorite video games?
video games? I think, you know, if you ask me like what my favorite is on the day, it'll change, but I'm big into like 16-bit JRPGs, so like all that stuff that's on the SNES, like Final Fantasy VI is probably one of my favorite games. I love like single screen arcade games too, like, you know, Robotron 2084, Popeye, Donkey Kong, I love that stuff. Also, older PC games I'm a huge fan of. So XCOM, UFO Defense on the PC. I don't know if anybody's familiar with that, but there's modern XCOM games now. But the first one, I think, it was the early 90s, I think it came out. That's also one of my favorites. It's a turn-based strategy game. I love that game, Hunting Aliens. And I believe I bought that with, yeah, I saved my allowance to buy that game at Babbage's at Superstition Spring Center. I remember I paid like $65 for it when I was like 12. Like it was a lot of allowance saving to get that game. But right now, like I'm playing through the Pixel remaster of Final Fantasy VI, so like I'm really enjoying that again because I haven't played through it in a couple of years. Sega, God, I just love video games. To be honest with you, there's like, it probably, like I'm not a huge puzzle game person. Like I'm not big into puzzle games. There's still some that I enjoy, but like I adore Dr. Mario, but like I don't care for Tetris that much, but I like Dr. Mario. Sega Genesis stuff too. I grew up, like the first video game system that I had that was like mine that I got, I think for Christmas was the NES, and so like I love the NES. Not going for a complete set for that either, but I've got a couple of hundred NES games and it's pretty much everything that I want minus a couple of holes that are just like I'm missing Mega Man 5. Like I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6, but like I think 5 is the most expensive one, and that's why I don't have it. But yeah, right now I would say like because I've been going back and playing some of the 16-bit JRPGs that I didn't play. Like I started playing through the Shining series on the Sega Genesis, so like Shining in the Dark and those Shining Force, those games. What's the one that I just played through on the SNES? Not Breath of the Wild. What is that game called? Breath of the Dragon, I think, or something, or Breath of Fire. That's what it was. Yeah, I just played through the first one of those because my backlog goes all the way back to like my teenage years of like games that I wanted to play. Like back then, I still haven't had time. So yeah, right now I'm big into like JRPGs. That's something I can like sit and play and relax. You know, for what I say is going to be an hour, but turns into 3. So.
No, I just want to follow up on that. Like, what do you think about the new kind of like trend, at least I'm seeing, is for JRPGs, is like Octopath Traveler kind of art style where it's kind of pixely, but it's like you can like shift the camera kind of like in a 3D way.
Yeah, I like it. I tend to like stuff to be turn-based though, for sure. Like I do like turn-based RPGs, but I do like that art style. There's really not like a video game art style I don't like or can't appreciate something done like in that art style.
Would you say that you're not really into the Final Fantasy VII remake because it's not turn-based anymore?
So I haven't even played Final Fantasy VII, like for more than like 10 minutes. Like I own it and I do want to get to playing it eventually, but now that you tell me that it's not turn-based, like I'll probably go back and play the original one just because it's turn-based.
It's more open, like Final Fantasy 15.
Okay, yeah, I'll probably go back and play the original one. I have so many games I need to play still. Problem is like I said, I'm going back and playing 6 again. I've played through 6 like, I don't know, a dozen times in my life probably, but like there's a new Pixel remaster, so I need to go play it now. And actually it is beautiful. This Final Fantasy VI, the music is fantastic too. Like the new score and everything is great. Oh, thirsty.
When it comes to your guys' content creation, I imagine when you first started off, it was pretty easy to find content. But now that you've exhausted everything that's close to you, how do you still maintain and find content that's relevant to what you covered?
Definitely, I want to travel more. Also, it's really just trying to be as creative as possible. Like coming up with things to do that aren't so much hard location specific, but more brand. Like we're gonna do an Auntie Anne's video, so like I've got a bunch of footage of like Auntie Anne's that I've filmed from some. I'm gonna use some footage that I filmed of one in California while I was in California. I'm gonna use some footage of a closed one that I took some footage of. Where was that? You were with me. Where was that closed Auntie Anne's where I was like all excited to see it because it had like the pretzel stencil where they would twist the pretzels and everything. But
When we were in San Diego? Was that San Diego?
no, it was recently. What were we doing recently? I can't remember. What mall were we in? I can't even remember. Oh my God, they're all blending together. Oh,
It's the heat.
It's the heat. Yeah, I'm gonna blame it on the heat.
Next year in March.
But basically trying to do things like I said that are more brand than like hard location specific, like a specific mall. But I also do want to travel more to like film some more malls. And not everything that I do is always a hit, you know what I mean? But it's still fun to do. So it's really weird actually. If you look at my videos, the best performing videos that I've done, if you like sort my videos by the most views, it's not mall videos. It's when I do a video about Macy's or JCPenney or Dollar General, which I don't even like that video. I've gone back. That's what's weird about content creation too, is that I can go back and watch a video that I did 2 years ago and be like, I really like that video. That was a fun video. And then there's a couple that I come back and watch, like, I don't like that video. And like, I would probably take it down, except for that it's got so many views. And if you delete a video, you lose the views, like on your channel. So it's like, oh, I don't even like that video anymore. But to get back to your question of it's really just like brainstorming and just really trying to be as creative as possible. And also, I don't know that I've exhausted as much as people think. There are still little weird small malls all around Arizona. Also, there's still stuff in northern Arizona that I haven't filmed. You're all from here, so you know like Arizona's huge, but I get that a lot. They're like, how much stuff is there in Phoenix to film? And it's like, well, I can do the whole state, and the state is huge. Like it's the size of a couple of European countries, you know, in some cases. Like there's a lot of stuff out there. But really that, and then just trying to kind of diversify and throw things in like the thrifting videos. Like those are, you know, who cares if I go film the same thrift stores, because there's different crap in them like every month. But also what I've been trying to work on with those videos is film thrift stores that aren't Goodwill. Like Goodwill's kind of like, they're everywhere now in the Phoenix area, but there's all these other like little weird thrift stores like, there's a couple of Savers, which there's that one that I found that's right next to the Goodwill. That's weird. There was another Savers that was like in Chandler, but it's gone. Like they closed that one. But there's other weird ones too. There's like, you know, Hospice of the Valley, which that's kind of depressing, but they've got a thrift store. One of the animal rescues has a thrift store that's in Chandler that I want to go check out. And then there's even like, Savers is I guess kind of for profit too, but there's some other like Epic Thrift. There's some, I think that's what, is it called Epic Thrift or 360? No, 360 Thrift is what it was. That's right.
What are we gonna do Bisbee again? Because I know there's.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. I would like
That's
to.
just a great area. I want to spend like a few days, not a few hours there.
I don't feel like I've figured out how to do that video. Well, like to do that kind of video, because I would like to do more videos focusing on smaller towns and like the weird, like eclectic shops that are in those towns. And I've tried to do that, but I just don't feel like I've done that kind of video right. But I do want to do that again. Maybe Bisbee again. But like something, there's like Jerome. There's all kinds of weird places. Arizona's weird. I love it here. There's so much weird stuff here. And I complain about the heat, but I actually kind of enjoy living in the desert. Like I enjoy the winters and everything that's not summer. And also with the summer too, like I can actually tolerate, as long as I'm in the shade and I have water, like I can tolerate it. I feel bad when people come from out of town to the Phoenix area, like in July. It's like, oh, you're gonna die if you didn't start hydrating before you got on the plane. Like you get here.
I feel like those smaller thrift stores though, like the more eclectic ones, wouldn't they be a little bit more difficult to tape or like video without asking like permission?
No, you would be. Actually, that's an interesting subject as a whole. Let me answer that specific question first. But no, believe it or not. First of all, usually if it is a small, I would ask. I would say, hey, not everywhere that I film without. There are some places that I actually get permission to film. And I have, like even Goodwill, Goodwill gave me permission. They were like, you can film in our stores, you know. They, way back when I first started the channel, they sponsored a couple of videos, Goodwill. So yeah, they were totally okay with that. But pretty much like any mom and pop shop though, like a little small thrift shop, they're usually totally okay with it. It's funny though, because a couple of times I've asked to do that, like I asked to do that before I really did any like recon, so there wasn't really anything interesting to film. even anyway, so I felt kind of bad. But most like mom, they're totally fine with it. Like if I ask it, you know, like the 80s one in Pasadena that I did, that lady was like, yeah, dude, film. And she was like modeling clothes for me and stuff. And like, they're totally okay with it. But even like
Pasadena in general, because that was the model train shop.
Oh yeah, there was the
Right
model
down
train
the
shop
street.
too. Yeah, they're totally okay with it. They're like, oh, you're gonna put me on social media, like you're gonna advertise my store for free. Yeah, you know, as long as I'm not gonna. Well, if I'm gonna trash their store, I'm probably not gonna ask permission. But I'm not gonna trash a mom and pop shop. I'm gonna trash Best Buy. I'm not gonna trash it, but I'm gonna like crap on this. No, that doesn't sound right either. Bad mouth, whatever. Like, I'll do that to Macy's, but like, I'll never do that to a mom and pop shop. Like, if I walked into a mom and pop shop, it could be like the most abhorrent mess that would make for like great footage or whatever. I just wouldn't film it because like, I'm not gonna give them a hard time. They're having a hard enough time as it is, obviously, and they're having to compete against Amazon and the department stores and Walmart, and you know, so. But yeah, a lot of those we did the record store. Those were by Metro Center. They were totally okay with it. They'll post my video on their websites and stuff. It's actually kind of cool. But even like filming in the malls anymore has seemed to have become easier. The department stores in particular, I just don't think the employees give a shit anymore. Pardon my French. Care anymore. Like they're like, I'm not paid enough to like go bother that guy. So, I mean, I still try and be not or inconspicuous and everything. And filming, that's where Marc comes in super helpful. Filming someplace big like a mall or like a department store when you have a second set of eyes to kind of keep out for like security or whatever, because it hasn't happened in a while. It's really just like mall security, and it's only ever been at dead malls, which is weird. I could probably whip out a huge camera on a gimbal and everything and walk all through Chandler Fashion Square or Chandler and nobody would care. Like nobody would probably say anything. But the minute you pull out your camera in like a dead mall, for some reason it's like a huge problem. And it's like there's not even anybody here. Like
Why would they care?
We literally gave them all like next month.
I think, well, in the cases where I've experienced that, so like they weren't scheduled to be, and I think they were still trying to like get tenants, and so I guess they don't want footage out there of. Also, you know, these malls are owned by, most of them anyways, are owned by big real estate firms, and so management at that mall might not be being completely honest with what's going on at the mall with upper management, and so like I'm kind of like calling them, which again, big corporation, not my problem, deal with it.
Wasn't it Metro Center? It was Metro Center where the security guards came to like that
Yes!
stop right in front of us. Like basically like they were chasing. We were like done filming. Like we got everything we wanted. We were leaving. Security's like following us out. And we're like, are they following us out? And we walk out the door, and then like another security guard in a truck just came up and was like, like what's going on?
And you know what's really funny about that too is the reason we got caught filming is because we were not inconspicuous at one point, because we had asked. It was during Christmas. And they didn't have Santa Claus. What they had is they had a big, huge Christmas tree, and they had a big red chair, like Santa's chair, basically. But no, Santa Claus is like a photo opportunity. And you were wearing something crazy. You were wearing like a sports coat that had Christmas trees on it or something.
It was like
I don't remember what it was.
From Home Alone. It was like all Christmas trees, but it was like Merry Christmas, you filthy animal. Or something.
That's right.
Like a sport coat.
And they had
all Christmas.
It was a photo opportunity, and there was like an attendant there that like helped you, like she would take the picture for you if you needed to. And so like I'm like, hey, my buddy's wearing this goofy crap. Like, can he sit in the chair and I'm gonna do films? She's like, oh yeah. That's what got us caught. So when they were like honest like that, I was like, first of all, the lady told us we could. And they were like, well, we just don't know what you're doing. What did they accused us of like filming the place to case it, to rob it? I'm like, there's nothing in here to steal. There's nothing to steal. Like, I'm gonna steal bootleg Peppa Pig from the mall kiosk. Like, that was so dumb. They kind of realized they were being stupid too. Like after, it's like, I think they were just bored. And was like, oh, there's something to go do. Like, crazy. But like, yeah, now the busy malls though, I can walk around no problem with the camera and not hiding it or anything, and nobody even says anything. As a matter of fact, people walk in front and be like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and like be courteous and everything. Like nobody cares. I think social media has changed that a lot. It's dumb kids filming TikToks in the mall. Basically, I think people have just. It's like I don't want people to think I'm the dumb TikToker filming in the mall. I shouldn't call. I mean, not all TikTokers are dumb, but like I'm not being ridiculous either. Like I'm not making a scene or like doing something goofy. So I just don't think they care anymore. They're just like, whatever.
Didn't you at one point have video glasses?
I used those once. I used them, they were terrible.
So obvious.
What was that? That was Desert Sky was where I used those. Yeah, those like 90% of the footage was unusable. Not that what I was filming was even that great. Anyways, back then it was pretty jittery or whatever. But like, yeah, no, I don't even know where those are anymore. I think I sold those at a garage sale. I'm pretty sure. I got those from Amazon.
I saw you talking about them in one of your videos, like, oh, I got these new glasses. And then
Yeah.
I saw you with your phone. And stuff.
I was super excited about it. I was like, yeah, they didn't work out. Because I know that's what, I don't know if he's still using them, but I know that's what Clint from LGR uses when he films his thrifting videos. And he gets like, he's got to be using like CIA level ones because like the footage looks great like out of them, and it's not, it's like stabilized, unless he's got like, I don't know, maybe Adobe has some great image stabilization stuff now, but like, it looks great, his footage. So that's why I was like super excited for them, and then like it just looked like garbage. I was so mad. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I just came back from a trip to Tokyo, and there's like, obviously great mass transit, lots of people, there's lots of shops. I don't know if I would say there's a lot of malls. I don't think there's that many, but I would say in terms of commerce, there's every corner there's something.
Yeah.
So I was thinking maybe, I don't know, better mass transit in America would bring back some more that small mom and pop shops and just less,
Yeah.
less big brands out in every corner. Because every time you go out anywhere around here, it's going to be, that's Fry's, that's a Target, that's a Walmart. There's nothing that's like just mom and pops, nothing.
Yeah, I am a big fan of public transit, and actually having a public transit infrastructure. That's one of the big complaints I have with the Phoenix area. I mean, our bus system's actually all right for the most part in the Phoenix area. The light rail's cool. It would be cool if I could take it more places and go further. Like right now, the only time I ever use the light rail is to go to a baseball game or something, because you can do the park and ride. But yeah, I think that's a big part of why Japan is like that, and why you have so many. Because I remember seeing pictures in the 90s of like these corners where there would just be like several like mom and pop electronic stores and things like that, selling they would have big Panasonic neon signs and stuff, and from what I understand, I've never been. My sister just got back from Japan. I'm very jealous. It's still like that there in a lot of places, and they do have a lot of mom and pop places, and I would love to go check that stuff out. Because I would love to be able to show that to people here that might not necessarily otherwise see, and be like, look, like this is how cool things can be, The other weird thing is I want to go to Japan to film convenience stores, which I know sounds bizarre, but like their convenience store, like Lawson and 7-Eleven, yeah, that's so amazing compared to like our 7-Eleven here. Like, yeah, I would love to go. I want to go check those out. Like, I would actually like to have a time machine to go check out Lawson in the past when they had the, I forget what they call them, the Loppy machines or whatever, where you could buy blank Super Nintendo or Super Famicom cartridges and plug it into a machine, and it would program the game. Like you could do that with Game Boy and Super Nintendo games. Like you could get them at Lawson's, like just a blank card, and then when you were done playing it, you could bring it back and they could wipe the cartridge and then put a new game. And there was actually a couple of games that were exclusive. Like I think there was a Breath of Fire game that was exclusive to that in Lawson. But yeah, I would love to go use that, or to go back and use a Famicom disc writer machine, like one of the key. I wish I could go back in time and use that stuff. Have you guys seen that? What game is that out there? The horse game that's out there, that Derby Champion or whatever. I never thought I would get a chance to play that game because there's not, obviously some of them made them over here to the United States, but that's a huge game that was hugely popular in arcades in Japan that I remember reading about in the little Japanese news section in Electronic Gaming Monthly, and seeing them being like, that would be really fun to play, but I'm never gonna get to play it. So when I saw it out there, I was like, I gotta go play that, and and I had to go get some pictures of it and everything. Like, I love that kind of stuff over there. I would love to go film all of that over there.
Yeah, definitely. I think if you were to go out there, it'd definitely make a great series for sure.
Yeah, like I said, for some reason, like just the convenience stores. I just want to go check out the convenience stores because ours are not nearly as cool as the ones out there. There's all kinds of cool stuff you can do with those. Anybody?
The goal for the thrifting is actually basically Russ. It's called it antique.
It's more of an antique store.
You know what's funny? I've done so many videos now, like I can't. I'm pretty sure I did a video. Oh yeah, it was Brass Armadillo. I love that video. I love walking you through. I don't think that video performed particularly well, but I have in the can like we filmed 2 big antique stores that I just haven't like edited together yet. But I actually would love to check out more. It's called? What is it?
Call it antique.
I've heard of that
It's
before.
down Broadway and Mesa.
Okay.
Like on your way to H Mart.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like right on the way if you're heading from like Kentucky.
That's perfect. It's in Mesa too. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's we filmed the two antique stores that are down, like they're on Main and Sossaman, I think, like over by that Denim and Diamonds
I love that
Club.
little one that you mentioned.
Brass Armadillo,
Yeah,
yeah.
it took me a second to remember, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, that's what.
And then did we do the video on the other one in Chandler too? I know we filmed it, but did I actually put the video out?
I think so.
But there's a really cool like antique mall in Chandler that's on like Knox and Arizona Avenue. Those aren't parallel, right? It's been a while since I lived in Chandler. But there's a really cool one there. It's an old Payless Cashways that they converted into like a big antique mall, and it's cool because it has like a bakery in it and stuff. And for a while, it had a hot dog place in there called Pittsburgh Willie's. It was really good, but that's moved to downtown Chandler. But yeah, I actually want to do more antique store videos because I like, and also I don't know if it's just me, but like a lot of the stuff that's in an antique store isn't what I would call antique. It's vintage, it's retro, but it's not like, you know, a 110-year-old Victrola record. Like there's less of that stuff, and then we're like, I get surprised now when I go into antique stores that they'll have someone will have a booth that's like all retro games and stuff, like retro video games and toys. And so I would like to film, so I'll have to check that out because I love those because those are a gold mine for like, especially old toys, like old talking Pee Wee Herman, rest in peace, you know, toys and things like that. So I'll have to check that one out. Oh, sure.
You mentioned filming in Japan. Have you considered going to other countries to film?
Yeah, Japan and then Mexico is just partly because I haven't been to Mexico in years. But there's actually some malls and like I would love to go film Sears in Mexico because Sears in Mexico is actually a thing. Like Sears is huge in Mexico. I don't know why they're so. It's a brand loyalty thing. It's really worked out for them here or worked out for them there, and it's kept them afloat, and they're huge. Like they still like for the things that you used to go to Sears for, like they still go to Sears for there. Like and it's pretty much a brand loyalty thing too. They love Sears. Another weird one I would love to go film is Kmart in Australia. Kmart is huge in Australia. Hugely successful. There's tons of Kmarts all over. They're a separate company. They used to be the same company, but they split apart. I want to say it was in the 90s. But they still use the old Kmart logo. Like they use the old 80s like Kmart, like light teal and red and everything. And I would love to just go film, just to like freak people out and be like, hey guys, look, here's a busy Kmart in 2023 or 2024. Because I don't think people realize that. Like, other weird, like I wish I could have filmed them. You can't now because they're gone and I wasn't doing YouTube back then. But when Target collapsed in Canada, I would have loved to have been able to film those Target stores that were like, look like our Sears and Kmart stores because Target moved into Canada. I think they were only in Canada for like 5 or 6 years, maybe 10 years. And they just totally collapsed. They didn't make it. So there's no Target in Canada anymore. And it would just be weird for people to see that because they looked like Target stores. And like, I don't see very many not busy Target stores here, at least in the Phoenix area. well, anywhere I've been in the United States, really, they're all busy. So it's just would be interesting to show people that like it's almost like a parallel universe, like where Kmart made it somewhere and Target failed, and yeah.
They have Toys R Us up there in Canada.
Yeah, they have Toys R Us in Canada, yeah.
But not here.
No, we don't. They can call that thing Toys R Us at Macy's. It's not Toys R Us. It sucks. Although they didn't, I think they just opened another, where was that mall back east where they opened like a Toys R Us like concept store in the mall? I think they just reopened that again. Like they're trying it again. Like they've opened a couple of like test stores back east, but they're more like, they seem to be more like KB Toys sized, like mall stores. They're not like the huge big box store. God, I miss Toys R Us.
Miss KB.
I actually miss KB. I miss KB also.
The Toy Store.
So KB, I actually bought way more video games at KB Toys than at Toys R Us because KB Toys would always have a clearance, like they would have clearance video games. And they would have like new old stock stuff too. Like I bought, I think it was right after I graduated high school. So it would have been like 99. I bought a Sega Master System 2 that I got for $10 at KB because they were like, they had them, I guess, in the back and like forgot about them or whatever. So they had them out with like all the PlayStation games and stuff. And they were like, these are on clearance for like $10 for the console. And they had like 5 or 6 games. They had like Ghostbusters, Grass Stand, and a couple other ones. And those were all like $2 each. So like I bought all those. So it's like, I'll buy your clear, you know, I think they had stopped, like I said, the PlayStation was already out and well established. And my KB had like a rack of old PC games too. Like all these like old PC games were like $5. It was like old Sierra stuff and old Micropro stuff that was like, you know, 5 or 6 years, 7 years old. But yeah, $5 not shareware computer game. I love KB. Now I'm thinking about it. Maybe I liked KB better than
KB was pretty awesome.
No, but Toys R Us had the demo units, and I loved demo units when I was a kid. So I don't think KB had. I don't think they were big enough to have the demo units. Yeah. That's something else I would love to own is like a demo unit from like Kmart or Sears or whatever. Looks like we've got like 8 minutes left. So anybody else have any questions they want to squeeze in?
It's kind of off topic, but I just have to say, when you guys did that one, or I think it was like Julia Child or something, it was like a Julia
Yeah, that's one of my favorite videos, and it
I have
bombed.
to say, I love that video. It was so fun, and you guys just like took that recipe, and you're like, I'm gonna try to make this. And it was this obscure like 1940s recipe or something.
Well, that's what we're gonna try and do with because I got the Auntie Anne's pretzel recipe.
And I
So
also really
yeah.
liked when you guys compared the pretzels and the Auntie Anne's videos, and you guys like, oh, I'm gonna compare the cheese, I'm gonna compare the lemonade, and it was just interesting.
See, I thank you because I love those videos.
So much fun.
And they kind of bombed, and I was like, and actually, I'm really bitter about the Wetzel's and like the Versus one because what are the
Good mythical morning.
Yeah, the Good Mythical Morning, like it was at Rhett and Link or whatever. They stole that video like a week or two, or it was like 2 weeks later. They did the same thing. They were like Ultimate Mall Pretzel down to like some of my wording and stuff, and I was like, and that video did like 1 million views. I'm like, you guys suck. I was so annoyed, but yeah, I want to start doing more videos like that just because I enjoy them, and it's one of those things like with YouTube where if you do a video that's like a little out of the norm, it almost gets kind of punished by the algorithm.
When you guys did the Chuck E. Cheese one too, that one was really fun.
Oh, the Chuck E. Cheese, yeah.
Yes.
So I want to like force more of that into the algorithm because if I do enough of those videos, like YouTube will be like, oh, he does these videos too. We should push those. Like, it's really weird. YouTube is weird.
I still quote the Julia Child. Like I use that in my kitchen.
Oh yeah, that piece is. I love that piece of software too. In general, well, all the Microsoft Home stuff I love. So we should do that again, but like just do it for the. I don't feel bad if a video bombs on the second channel. Like, do that.
I'm always for that.
Well, you'll at least get one view. 'Cause it'll be
Thank you.
fun.
Thank you.
It's great. See, we're doing it.
Anybody way in the back? Got a question?
No, sir.
No? Okay. Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, I have one.
Yeah.
Dollar General again.
I've thought about it. That one in particular is like, I just don't like that video. I made some like verbal flubs in that video. That video was a nightmare to make. But then it did really well, which is like, holy crap, whoa. But yeah, I have thought about doing that. I mean, initially that's kind of what I did with like some of the early videos that I did, like the first Sears video that I did, because I wasn't happy with the way the footage came out, because I didn't really know what I was doing. I mean, I won't really claim that I know what I'm doing now still, but like I just didn't have as good camera and editing software and stuff. So I have thought about going back and like redoing some videos. I don't know how well people would like that though. I don't know. Like I bounce that around back in my head back and forth, because the internet can be like a fickle beast sometimes, and people could be annoyed that I'm like recycling content or something. So, but yeah, I have bounced it around in my head, the idea of like going back and redoing some videos.
Well, you redid Pierson Mall, and that turned out pretty good.
Yeah, that was fine. I try to stay, I try to leave, if I'm gonna cover a subject, even if it's because like there's new news to cover or something, I do try and leave as much space as possible. You know, I don't want to do I can't really do a Sears video every month now, because there's like no Sears stores left. But like I don't want to get into that where I'm like just covering the same thing like over and over again. But yeah, I have no problem going back, 6 months later and re-looking at something. With a lot of these companies, with how fast things are moving, there's like new bankruptcy news and stuff every couple of months, it seems like. So, did you have another?
Yeah. Would you ever go and film like smaller towns and stuff like that? Because there's a lot of small towns in like Payson, for example, where there's like big box stores that have like gone out of business, and they're just sitting there just vacant forever, and no one's gonna because they're in smaller towns and no one needs as much of a big space.
Yeah, I do. We did the video on Bisbee, which was like a spur of the moment thing, just because we happened to be down there to film.
Well, we did the mall in
Sierra Vista. I always want to say Sierra Nevada. That's the beard. Sierra Vista. Yeah, we did that. But I do want to get more into that. The Bisbee video was kind of an experiment. The reason I'm like not super happy with that video is just because there's like a ton of stuff that I missed apparently, which everybody told me in the comments. So I want to go back and redo that. But yeah, like I did like, Prescott, like I did the mall up there, but I would, now that I've like done that, I would like to go back there, because there were things that I made note of that I was like, oh, that's an interesting like empty department store. That's an interesting, weird, eclectic antique store. So like I have in some of these towns where I've been in where I just did like a one shot. Cause like when we did Prescott, like we literally drove there, filmed the mall, and drove back like all in one day, which was like a lot of driving. But I want to go back and like spend more time and hit those places. And yeah, I don't want to become like a travel vlog, but there are some cool, like Bisbee, there was a lot of cool stuff. Prescott had some, and I'm not pronouncing it Prescott anymore, which people were really mad when I did that video. They're like, it's pronounced Prescott. I'm like, I don't care. I mean, I grew up in Arizona, and I've heard it pronounced. I went and was like looking up news stories to like see how the news people were pronouncing it, and so I was like, oh, see, I'm not crazy. Like other people are saying Prescott too, who are like the news people here. But yeah, I do want to start doing some more things like that, because there's Jerome is the other one that's weird. Where are the Sedona, where your dad's shop is? Your dad still owns that shop, right? Why have we not done a video there? His dad owns the Rocky Mountain Chocolate Factory store that's in Sedona, and why have we not done a video there?
Just haven't made it to Sedona yet.
Yeah, we didn't do that. It's good chocolate. All right. We have 1 minute if somebody can might want to squeeze a question in.
Please just never stop making videos. I love your videos.
Never stop making videos. I'm not planning anytime soon. I know that there's been gaps here and there between videos, but I do have a day job, and it gets insanely busy sometimes. I work in software quality assurance testing. I manage a software quality assurance team, and I've worked on the same product for like 20 years. Well, it'll be 20 years in January. And I don't have near the staff that I used to when I first started way back when. So like, things get very busy, so it causes gaps. But if there's ever, like there was recently, sometimes a month between videos, I'll do another video. You know, I'll still be doing videos if that happens. I'm trying to get back to where I'm at least like every 2 weeks. I would love to get back to like once a week putting a video out, but with the way my job has been, it just hasn't been possible time-wise. But no, I'm not planning on stopping anytime soon.
Well, in summer, I know there's been a few days where it's like, should we go out and film? And it's like,
yeah, that's the other thing too. Yeah, like there's a bunch of stuff that I want to go. There is a bunch of stuff that I want to film, but it's just too hot. A lot of it's going to be some outdoor stuff, and like it's just too hot right now to do that. I'm not young anymore. Well, cool. Thank you, everyone, for attending my panel. I hope you guys all enjoyed it and everything. How many people do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I should have plenty. I have these old buttons that I got made many years ago, and I'm trying to get rid of them because I want to get new ones. And I have more than enough for everybody here to have a button. So, let's see if I can make it off the stage without eating shit. And then... you guys want a Retail Archaeology button?
Thank you.
No button?
Definitely, thank you.
Some of these look like the needle is sticking out, so be careful.
Thank you.
some bright spot right side. I was like,
I think that's why I have him around, because, oh, Jesus. What am I doing here? Some of these, like I said, the needle's a little bit short, but, you know who made these? The Meow Meows, your store, that lady makes buttons, and she made these for me.
I wanted to pick one of the
Got a button?
Yeah, I was just asking.
Oh, you got the panel room next?
No,
Oh. Are you just having to walk by?
No, I just got by here. Might check out your stuff.
Thank you. Just don't poke yourself. I'm not liable. Take focus. I'll have to deal with this. Did you get it? You got two. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Awesome. For yours now? Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Actually, Glendale, we wanted